Hey guys, welcome to part 3 of the tools. We're going to be covering everything that's down here, and it's going to be really great because there's some really useful tools here. The first guy we're going to come to is our pen tool. Click and drag on that. We've got a pen tool, freeform pen tool, and then these other things which you won't wind up using because I'm going to show you how to just use keyboard shortcuts to get to the same thing. All right, let's start off with a pen tool. This is one of the most, I don't know about controversial, but this is a very great tool. I think the pen tool is an extremely powerful tool. I think it is very helpful for you to at least know how to use it very well, and I use it quite frequently. Let's just go ahead and show you guys how this tool works here. The pen tool. The only reason why some people don't really like it is maybe they got a bad introduction to the pen tool. But I'm going to change that. I'm going to make it good. Okay, here's how the pen tool works. The pen tool is kind of like selections in that it doesn't necessarily affect your layer. It's its own thing, and it's called a path. It creates a path, which is right over here. Okay, we'll just keep this path up. So the pen tool, I just created this white in the background so you can see what I'm doing. The pen tool basically allows you to click in one place, and then you can click in another place, and click it in a couple other places, just like that. And then you can go back to your original point and close it out. So it's like, oh, that seems like a selection. And in a lot of cases it is. And most of the time you use pen tool to create paths, and then from those paths you get a selection. So we've created, you just did your first pen path. Awesome. Not hard. If you wanted that to be a selection, just hold down the control or the command key and click right here on this thumbnail of your work path, and now it's a selection. So now you can do whatever you want, just like creating selections from earlier. Let's hit Command D to deselect and click on our work path again. Now here's where the pen path gets really more awesome. If you hold down the control or the command key, you're going to get this like white arrow, and you can now click any part of your pen path and move it around. Let's just make sure. There we go. We're going to be able to move our pen path. Why is it not? It's not doing exactly what I thought it would do. Let's create a new path. All right. P for the pen tool. Let's just create a point here. There we go. Here I'm saying. Alright, controller command is going to now allow me to move this around. Well, it's moving my entire path, which it should not be doing. There we go. I guess I had to click off of it. That's weird. I guess that's a Photoshop CC thing that they just added. To be honest, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. It kind of threw me off. I was trying to make the pen tool sound all fun and inviting, and then Photoshop CC just changed how they did it. Alright, not a big deal. I will just show you a new way. Okay, apparently with CC, when you create a pen path and you want to click anything and move it, all of your points are going to turn black, which means they're all acting together. If you have CS6 or something below, that will not happen. Not a big deal. Hold down the controller command key, click outside of it, and then click back in, and these will go back to white, which now means you can move each one of these independently. So as long as they are white, you can move them independently. Now you can hold down shift and click on a few of them, and then you can move those together as well. You can shift click them back off as well. Alright, so we're going to move this point. You can move entire lines, you can move segments, really just about anything you can think of, you can move after the fact. So really very, very cool tool. It just gives you a lot of possibilities here. There we go. So now we got a shape like that, and if you want to turn that into selection, just command click right there. So we started off with one thing, and now it's completely different. Now, when you're just dealing with straight lines, that's about half of the cool part of the pen tool, because the pen tool can do a lot of other really great things too, like curves. And basically here's how it works. If I hold down Alt or Option, I can transform any of these straight angles into a curve. So Alt or Option, and now I've got a upside down V, and I can click and drag on any one of these, and I can turn it into a curve. There we go. Click and drag on that, and there we go. You'll see these arms basically control where this curve goes. So this arm controls this leading curve here, and that one controls the other. Okay, so this arm is kind of just deciding where this curve is going to go. If I pull it in, you can see not as curved. Same thing here. There we go. Pull that in as well. And I can pull this in too. So you have a lot of control over what you're doing with these curves. You can just kind of pull. You can even click right here on the actual curve itself and kind of move that around. All right, so we've got a really cool shape there. And Now we want to turn it back to selection. Command click right here, and you've got a selection. Very cool. So we started off with something. Now we've got something completely different. Let's just delete this path. Okay, and we'll create a new one. Now let's talk about like doing that from the start. So we're going to click, and instead of just click, we're going to click and drag up in that direction. So I've gone up that way. But now if I want to click over here, I can do the same thing, but I know that because I drag that up in that way, it's going to pull it up like that, and then this guy is kind of pulling it down, so we've got like kind of an S. But then this up here is about to pull up our next point. So if I click right over here, I know that the curve is going to be pulled up by this. You can always hold down Control or Command and move these around at any point, at any time you want to. So you never make a bad pen selection because you can always move it. That's just so nice. Alright, so this is going to pull it that way. If I want to come back this way, oh, it came off the selection. If that happens and you start creating a new path, just go back to the last point you created and you'll get a little open square there. Click like that and then you're back to working with the same path, okay? Cool, and then let's go back to this point here, and then we got like a little cool little shape. You can see like a nice little logo design or whatever. Alright, so that's basically how the pen path works. Now, they're used to make selections, so let's command click on this. Let's go back to our layers. Okay, we'll just delete this layer. Or delete that little area in the layer. Let's go to the trash can to delete the entire layer. There we go. And with our brush tool, we just paint white. Right over here. Ooh, you know what? We can even make a large brush and just paint like that. What? How cool is that? Alright, let's deselect that by hitting Command D. And then this could be like a logo or whatever, you know what I mean? You could hit Command T. Now, it's just a regular layer, so we just use that pen path to make a selection, right? And then the selection we just brush tooled in, and now it's on its own layer, so you can still hit Command T and like fade this out or, you know, do whatever you wanted to. You can flip it upside down. It's like, whoa, now it's a V. I can hold down the Command key, and there we go. We got like a cool little logo for a running shoe company or whatever have you. So just a really, really cool way to just do a couple of things we've already learned how to do, just combining them together to make an interesting shape like that. All right. A lot more interesting than just creating shapes like that. You can use it to cut people out of their backgrounds or do very cool things like tame their shirt, which we're going to do here. So let's do this. I'm going to grab the pen tool, and we're just going to make like a nicer line that's going to define our shirt. So to do this, I just want something that's going to look a little bit like this. I'll just grab the brush tool. All right, I just want something that's going to look like this and kind of come around there, come down there, and then back up there. We can use this to define a selection, and then I can get rid of things like this. So not too hard to do. It's just going to make it a little bit better. And the reason why the pen tool is great is because instead of, you know, having like a lasso tool where you're just like, it's going to be like really, you know, I'm exaggerating here, but it's not going to be smooth. The pen tool can be very smooth and controlled, which is very nice. Okay, so here's our pen tool. We're going to click and drag up in that direction, kind of come down here. There we go. I'm going to just cut this thing off right there because I feel like it. And there we go. Kind of bring that down over. We're going to cut this other one off as well. Let's hit Command plus to zoom in. All right. We can pull that out a little bit more. And, you know, you can still have like a little bit of movement in there. There we go. And let's bring this right back up. So this is a pretty simple example of when you might use the pen tool. So paths, I'm going to double click on this and I'll just call this shirt. S-H-R-T apparently. I just shirt my pants. All right. And on a new layer, what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to the path. I'm going to command click this, which is going to make it into a selection. So now it's at a selection, you can use something like a clone stamp tool to clone stamp from the outside back in to the inside. And of course, it's going to stop where the selection stops because that's what selections do, right? They only allow you to edit within a current selection. So the idea being that you can like really, you know, straighten out someone's wardrobe, things like that. It's really not that hard to do because we learned about how to create selections. We know how they work and everything like that. We've created a really nice selection around her shirt, and let's hit Command D to deselect that. And now we have like a little bit of a nicer line around her shirt, which is really not that hard to do. So if you wanted to make it even better, you could definitely do that. In fact, why don't I just show you how to do that? So we can hit our P for the pen tool here. I'm gonna just take out, a little bit more of that. We'll just come right around here. All right. And take out that like big dip in there. There we go. And then come right around there. Back to our paths, command click on there. Now this time I want to add fabric up, right? So we selected out this area, but remember we can inverse that by going to select and to inverse, okay? And now here I'll just clone stamp from the inside, outside. Pretty easy. Now I am doing a very quick job, mind you, but I hope you get the idea that this is one of the great things you can use the pen tool for. Completely reshaping. And the edge is so nice and so smooth, right? Like, that didn't take long at all, right? Everyone's like, pen tool's scary. No, it's not. It's easy. That wasn't that bad at all. So, you can completely transform the shape of someone and you still have like a very nice edge. Like, look at that beautiful edge. So nice, so fresh, so clean. That's what the pen tool is for. It's for creating very nice, clean edges. And if you wanted to just completely cut her out, you could do that too. You would just follow along her entire body with the pen path. So that's what the pen tool is for. I hope you guys enjoy it. May it serve you for many, many years. Okay, the next one we're going to click on is our type tool. And we can just type in something that says like Lauren, because that is her name. Okay, so there's our type tool. And we just type in Lauren. If you want to edit this a little bit, you can go up to Window and then down here to Character, which will bring up your character. You can change what font you want. Let's see. Lauren is kind of a... I don't know a ton about fonts, to be honest. There are a lot of people who, like graphic designers, who know a lot. I'll say Lauren's kind of a Futura girl. Futura. So we can play around there. You can have a couple different... formats. Condensed, extra bold. No, you know what? Condensed. She's a classy lady. Okay, this is the spacing between your letters. So if you want to have this spacing be 0, this is going to increase spacing between your letters and decrease spacing between it. If you want to make something look fancy, the quickest way to do it is to decrease the spacing between your letters. Okay. That's my little trick there. Although I know nothing about graphic design, so don't quote me on that, please. All right, there we go. There's Lauren, and she's looking good. Stretching it out, this is a no-no. Please don't ever do that because it makes fonts look horrible. Stretching it out horribly, also a no-no. You want to increase the amount of space between the letters. Do not make the letters thicker like that. A graphic designer will ring you out for it. This is bold. You can also add a faux italics, make it in all caps, whatever this is called, where it makes the first letter caps, superscript, subscript, underline, strike through. All right, so all these really nice things that you can do. Lauren, there we go. I like that. And all these really nice things that you can do with your font. Paragraph also works the same way. If you had a big paragraph, you could right align, middle align, left align, do all these interesting things and indent and things like that. Generally, if you're getting like with a lot of deep type, paragraphs and paragraphs of text, you would not be using Photoshop, but just a few things can be pretty nice. Okay, so there's your type tool, and you can double click right here to change what you want to save. So hit escape to get out of it, but if you want to change what's actually written, just double click right here, and then you can just click there and you can change what it says. Okay, you can also change the orientation of it. Very nice. Let's hit escape, and that's our type tool. The other nice thing about type is you can scale it to any size you want. So I can hit Command T, and I can scale this really large, and see how like beautiful it is there, even at a large size. Cool. Lauren, the Lauren of the trees. Very, very good, Aaron. That was very, very clever. Okay. We're going to have a little bit of fun with this. You know what? We're going to keep moving on with our tools, but we're going to have a little fun. Here's what we're going to do. If you want to make a layer into a selection, all you have to do is hold down Command or Control, and then turn that and click on the thumbnail for that layer. So we're going to do that. I want to make that layer invisible. Let's just create a new layer. So I'm going to use the clone stamp tool like we did earlier, right? I'm going to clone stamp some like trees right over there, and then let's do some dark areas over here. So it's going to kind of be the invert, right? Where the background is dark, we're going to put light, and where the background is light, we're going to put dark. I'm literally just playing around, guys. This is, you are not going to remember this for the rest of your life. It's like, man, remember that time when Aaron made Lauren's type just look amazing? It was the best day of my life. All right, let's deselect that by hitting Command D. So you can do stuff like that, which is kind of interesting. You can have it be visible there. You can move it all around there too. And put it, I don't want to deselect yet because I didn't cover part of the N. There we go. And we can move it up there. I don't know. You do all kinds of fun stuff. But we're going to keep that around because we're going to play with it in just a little bit. But there's your Lauren font. You can do the same thing. Just command click that again. A layer doesn't have to be visible for you to select it, by the way. And you could do that, you know, with like details from her blouse. From the lady's blouse, we've made her name. All right, and Command D to deselect. That sticks out a little bit more. Kind of cool, right? I'm so artistic. That is amazing. All right, so we've got our type tool. The next tool we've got here is the path selection tool, which you really don't need because remember how I told you to hold down the control or the command key? Well, that's what that is right there. Next we have another couple of cool tools like the rectangle tool. You can create a rectangle and you can fill it with a specific color, blue or green, whatever you want. And you can change the stroke on the edge and things like that. Now, in my opinion, Photoshop is not the best program to use when you want to create shape vectors like these. I would probably use Illustrator, but you can create them here in Photoshop. As far as photo editing goes, there's almost never a time when you would actually need to use this stuff, but if you did want to, you can. They've added a rounded rectangle, which I think is just very nice, and you can change the amount of how the edges are around it. I think this is a Photoshop CC thing. I think when they upgraded to Photoshop CC, this was literally the only thing that I cared about, and I've used it once. So, you know, it's like that. Okay. And we don't want it to be filled with anything. So look at that. We've got like a nice little rounded rectangle shape. But this is what's called a vector shape. Just like a pen path, it's not like just regular pixels. So you can like scale it infinitely, and let's check that out. It's not going to lose definition and things like that. Like I can hit Command T, and I can bring it, like I can stretch it out right there, and it should, not only should it not lose definition, but it should keep the same rounded corners here, which is kind of cool. So I'll hit enter there. Let's just delete this other one. Cool, that's our Lauren. But we can't do this with this anything like we would. This is not a regular just pixels basically. So if you want this to turn into pixels and you want to do cool stuff like, you know, select it and turn it into Lauren, you can right click on it and go to rasterize layer, and that's going to convert it in just a regular old layer, and then you can do whatever you want with it, right? Okay, so now we're going to just select it. I'm going to make a new layer and grab my brush tool, and we'll just grab this color here. There we go. That's really great. Good job, Aaron. I don't like that at all. We're going to delete those, but that's how you use these here tools. I don't use them too much, but they're good to know. All right, the hand tool is great when you want to move around. You can always access this by hitting the space bar. So I never click on it because you could just use the space bar. The rotate view tool, this is actually really helpful, especially when you're retouching or doing a little hand painting or things like that. This will rotate your view. It's not actually rotating the image, it's just kind of like pulling it around. So if you're doing like some retouching and you need to like change the angle that you're working on a person, like let's say you're trying to do some like dodging and burning and you want to do like that, you can change your angle, and it just helps out there. You can hold shift to get it back to increments, and we'll just go back to normal here. You can get to that by hitting R, by the way. All right, very cool. And then you have your zoom tool, which you can zoom in, and if you hold down Alt or Option, you can zoom out. I think if you can, yeah, you can just click and zoom like this. I think, nope. All right, let's see. Yep, that's about, you can hit fit screen and fill screen and things like that too. But again, I don't really ever use the zoom tool because you can hit Command plus to zoom in and out, and Command minus will zoom in and out. Or you can hold down the Command key and hit the spacebar key and drag left and right, and that'll allow you to zoom in and out too. So hit spacebar, then Command, and then you can like zoom into right there. Spacebar, Command, zoom in right there. I don't use this one as much because I always forget about it. But hey, just another way to zoom around without having hit this button. Okay, next we have our foreground and background color. As you might have guessed, this is the foreground color. If you are on a new layer, you can paint with your new color. There we go. If you want to paint with your background color, just hit X and it will switch them. Now you're painting with the background color. X again, foreground. Background, foreground. Pretty fun. You can also just click on this little switch, but I think hitting X is easier. Okay, down here we have what's called a quick mask, and this is an interesting way to make selections, okay? So let's just turn this off. You can hit Q to get to your quick mask mode, by the way. Okay, quick mask mode, Q, you can paint anywhere you want to, and when you hit Q again, that's going to be a selection. It's going to turn into a selection. So pretty cool. You can use a brush tool to make selections and vice versa, but I don't use it too much, but it is kind of cool. So Q, turn it into selection. Okay. Just make sure it's unpressed if you actually want to do anything in Photoshop. Okay. Okay. And then here we can see this will enter full screen. You can also hit F for this. So F, full screen, F, full screen again, F, go back. All right, pretty cool. So this is, it's basically everything all the way down to the very end, guys. And yeah, your color picker, just click here and you can choose your color. From left to the right is less saturated, going to more saturated. From bottom to the top is darker and lighter, or brightness or value, however you want to say it. And then this is your little hue slider. You can also click over here and like you have now a saturation slider. So this slider controls saturation, and then up and down is value, and left and right is hue. And you can also do a brightness one, which is kind of funny. But I stick it on hue because that works a little bit better in my brain. You can also go to your color libraries and like choose Pantone colors. It's like, oh, I only paint with Pantone 2728C. Good. I'm glad we did that. I don't do that. All right, let's go back to this picker, and then you can just choose it there. Also, interestingly, if you guys do any web work, if you want to choose, there's your web color right there. It tells you your little number, and you can click only web colors. Oh, remember how earlier, by the way, when I was saying sRGB severely limits the amount of colors you can get? It's in a way kind of does that. This is a lot more extreme than what it actually does, but like not as much. So it just limits the amount of colors you can actually work with. So we'll hit cancel. That was an extreme example. Okay, great guys. So we've covered all the tools we have got in Photoshop as well as their options. We've even done some fun things with layers along the way. And this is great. Let's go ahead and stop this, and then we're going to pick back up. Next section is on layers, all these things over here. Alrighty.